Admiral Kethvar of the Zephyrian Imperial Fleet studied the holographic display with satisfaction. 50 of the Empire's finest warships surrounded the small asteroid mining facility where the human fugitive had taken refuge. It was, by any reasonable measure, overwhelming force against a single target. "This seems excessive," commented Sub-Admiral Irix, her 4 eyes blinking in sequence as she observed the tactical formation. "1 human against the entire 7th Fleet?" Kethvar's mandibles clicked in what passed for amusement among his species. "The High Council wants this particular human alive. Dr. Alexandra Kane possesses information about human military capabilities that could prove valuable to our expansion efforts. On the asteroid-designated mining station Theta-7, Dr. Kane crouched in the maintenance tunnels, her breathing steady despite the impossible odds. The Zephyrians had found her after 3 months of running, 3 months of staying 1 step ahead of the most powerful military force in the known galaxy. She wasn't running anymore. Kane activated her suit's comm system and broadcast on all frequencies. "This is Dr. Alexandra Kane, formerly of the Terran Research Division. I know you can hear me, Admiral. You want me alive, which means you need something I have." Kethvar's translator crackled to life. "Dr. Kane, you are surrounded by 50 vessels of the Zephyrian Imperial Navy. Surrender now and you will be treated with the respect due to a valuable prisoner." "Respect?" Kane laughed bitterly. "Like you showed the colonies on Proxima B? Or the research station on Europa?" The human's voice carried across space with surprising calm. "I have a counter-proposal, Admiral. Turn around now, take your fleet, and never come back to human space." The bridge of Kethvar's flagship erupted in chittering laughter. Even Sub-Admiral Irix allowed herself a small chuckle at the audacity. "Dr. Kane," Kethvar replied, "you appear to be suffering from delusions. You are 1 human on a mining asteroid with no weapons, no ships, and no hope of escape. What could you possibly do against 50 Imperial warships?" Kane's response chilled the bridge to silence. "I'm going to show you why humans don't surrender." The asteroid's mining charges had been repurposed, but not in any way the Zephyrians could have anticipated. Dr. Kane had spent her months in hiding doing more than just running. She had been preparing. The first explosion came from the asteroid's core, but it wasn't random destruction. Kane had calculated the precise angles, the exact force needed. The asteroid didn't just explode. It became a kinetic weapon, hurling chunks of rock and metal at relativistic speeds directly into the formation of Zephyrian ships. Admiral Kethvar watched in horror as 3 of his vessels simply ceased to exist, obliterated by impacts that released more energy than their shields could possibly absorb. "Evasive maneuvers," he screamed, but Kane had anticipated that too. The second wave of explosions triggered a cascade failure in the asteroid's exotic matter storage, materials left behind by the previous mining operations. The resulting gravitational anomalies caught 6 more ships in tidal forces that crushed their hulls like paper. But Kane wasn't finished. Her voice crackled across the comm again, eerily calm as chaos erupted around the Zephyrian fleet. "You studied human colonies, Admiral. You analyzed our civilian populations, but you never understood what you were really looking at. The mining station's automated systems, reprogrammed by Kane's expert touch, began launching mining drones. Not at the Zephyrian ships directly. That would have been suicide. Instead, they spread throughout the battlefield, each one carrying a small but precisely placed charge. Every human colony you destroyed," Kane continued, "every research station you obliterated, they all had something in common. They were built by engineers, Admiral. Human engineers who think 3 steps ahead and plan for the worst-case scenario. The mining drones detonated simultaneously, creating a massive electromagnetic pulse that fried the electronics on half the remaining Zephyrian vessels. Dead in space, they became sitting targets for the debris field Kane had orchestrated." Kethvar's own ship shuddered as a chunk of metal the size of a shuttle punched through their forward armor. "How is this possible?" he whispered. "Because," Kane's voice came through the static, "you made the same mistake every galactic empire makes when they encounter humanity. You assumed that because we're young, we're primitive. You thought superior numbers meant victory. Another wave of explosions rocked the Zephyrian formation. Kane had been busy during her 3 months of preparation, and the asteroid was honeycombed with surprises. But humans don't win through superior technology or overwhelming numbers, Admiral. We win because when you back us into a corner, when you threaten everything we care about, we become the most dangerous thing in the universe. Sub-Admiral Erix turned to her commander, all 4 eyes wide with terror. Sir, we've lost 32 ships. Request permission to withdraw. What do we become, Dr. Kane? Kethvar found himself asking, his voice barely a whisper. The final explosion lit up space like a newborn star. The mining station's fusion reactor had been turned into a weapon of unimaginable destruction. But Kane's voice came through one last time, transmitted from an escape pod that launched just moments before the detonation. Unpredictable. The blast consumed the remaining Zephyrian ships in a wave of plasma and radiation. Of the 50 vessels that had come to capture one human, none survived. Admiral Kethvar's last thought as his flagship was consumed by fire was a warning he would never be able to deliver to his people. Never underestimate a species that produces individuals willing to die rather than kneel. Dr. Alexandra Kane's escape pod was picked up 3 days later by a human patrol ship. When asked how she had managed such an impossible victory, she simply smiled and said, "I'm an engineer. It's what we do. We find solutions to impossible problems." The Zephyrian Empire never again attempted to enter human space. Some lessons, after all, only need to be taught once.